Have you recently found yourself shopping for a new cruise line? Maybe you realize the fun ship isn't as loyal as it once was. Well, I'm here to talk to you about MSC Cruises, and more specifically, my time aboard the MSC Seashore. Come with me as I do a deep dive and review of my week aboard this beautiful ship, and speak a little bit about MSC Cruises. Well, hello, good morning, and welcome back to the channel. Here today, where tomorrow. My name's Rob, and yes, I am going to go ahead and do a deep dive in my recent time aboard the MSC Seashore. The things I'm going to cover in this video will break down in these few categories. We have embarkation, the room, the ship, the food, staff and entertainment, the ports of call, and disembarkation. And I will sprinkle in a few comparisons and things from other MSC ships and MSC as a whole throughout. So let's get started with embarkation. Just a little bit of background for you. This will have been my 4th MSC sailing, my 24th cruise overall across 5 different cruise lines. So I have a bit of knowledge under my belt when it comes to a plethora of cruise ships. So I hope you will take this review with a little bit of notoriety, albeit, again, everyone's opinions are their own, and mine are very well and very strong my own. So let's start with embarkation. We left out of Port Canaveral in Florida, which is one of my absolute favorite ports to leave out of. It is just a super easy port to manage. This ship did leave out of Terminal 10, which I actually have a drive up video here that I will link up above. You could check out and just kind of see what it's like to drive up to Terminal 10, where to drop off your luggage, where to park, etc. It is $17 a day to park at the terminal parking, which I personally like parking at the port because once we get off the ship, debarkation, we hit the road and we head home. There was a couple of setbacks on the day of embarkation. There's a drawbridge that you have to go over that lets some of the boats from the marina out, and it was stuck in the open position. So traffic backed up for miles. And then once we got into the port, unfortunately the Wi-Fi went out in the building, and therefore everyone stopped checking in. We couldn't check in, couldn't go through security. Aside from those little hiccups, which aren't really MSC's fault, MSC is not in charge of the terminal Wi-Fi, you know, nor is it responsible for the marina's drawbridge. So it wasn't an MSC thing, but once we did get through security, we blew through check-in and went right on the ship. And this is where it kind of got a little confusing. This is not how it used to be, and I don't know if this is how it's going to be going forward, but for our sailing on the Seashore, we went to our muster station because they can't technically leave until everyone has done that muster drill, the safety drill. And so we decided to go to our muster station. Well, when we got to our muster station, they said, "Do you have your room key? Did you watch the video?" We go, "No, we don't have a room key," because they used to give the room key out in the terminal. Well, now the room keys are actually at the door of your cabin, but the cabins aren't ready yet when you get on the ship. They're usually not ready till, 2:30 or something, which most of the people are already on the cruise ship by that time. So they're encouraging you to go to the room to get your key card. Then you need to go into the room, which has not been turned over, so it's probably dirty. They've taken all the sheets off, so your bed's just sitting there, just mattress, looking naked. It's just, the room is in shambles. Towels on the floor or no towels at all. The bathroom hasn't been cleaned. The rooms haven't been turned over. So you have to go in there, turn on the TV, watch a safety video. Once the safety video has been watched, you dial 881 on your phone, which then verifies your room has watched the safety video. Then you take your keys and you go to the muster station, and then they check you off. That's too complicated. MSC, I don't know why you did that. I don't know, again, and I don't know if this is what they're doing going forward, if the keys will be in the terminal where they used to be, or if they're going to continue to show up at the door. It was very official, this package that was at the door, so it seems like they're putting a lot of money into that. That's something I wouldn't really like. I hope that there's a change there or some modification. Maybe you don't need your key to do the muster station. It's okay. I'm rambling. Sorry. Personal opinion, didn't really like it. It's better than Margaritaville at Sea, where they do the in-person muster station outside in the sun. So it's definitely an improvement of that. But I personally love the way Norwegian does it. When you get right on the ship, they say, where's your muster station? Oh, it's H. Okay, then you go that way. Oh, it's B. Okay, then you go that way. They take you directly to your muster station. You immediately do the muster drill. It's out of the way. Boom, bam, bing, bang, bam. Done. So anyways, back to the room. Once we did the muster station, we went back to our rooms because they were ready about that time, and we were able to put our stuff down, unload everything, and get ready for sail away. So let's take a moment to talk about the room for a moment. Our stateroom was a starboard-side balcony room. I have a room tour here that I will link so you could check it out if you want to. I open every drawer and push every button and go into depth on the room tour. It is a generic stateroom balcony, pretty much you would find on most other cruise ships. Really the only difference that I have seen between a bunch of different cruise ships is the way they set up the closet. But the bathrooms are really similar across cruise lines. The way the bed and the couch and everything's laid out, I mean, it's a tiny room. If you don't know, most staterooms are actually built as a capsule. So all of your plumbing, electrical, and everything is built onto like a trailer. And then they like slide that unit into the side of the ship. It's very interesting. If you've never seen it, it's very cool how they do it. But that way everything is self-contained. So if there's any problems, you don't have to go chasing a bunch of stuff. You can literally start at the unit, the room itself, and kind of work from there. And then you can see if it's a ship problem or if it's a unit problem. Pretty smart how they engineered all that stuff. And because there's not much room, there's not much room for customization. But it was a great room. Usually we have Madison with us. So usually it's me, my wife in the bed, which, you know, it's a king size bed or two twins if you want to separate it. And then we have my daughter usually sleeps on the couch, which kind of folds into a twin size bed. But since she wasn't there, we were able to have the couch, which is nice. Vanity, desk, lights, storage. It's, you know, it's a room. The thing that we really specifically wanted about this room was its location being on the starboard side of the ship. When you dock at Ocean Cay Marine Reserve, which is MSC's private island, the ship always backs in. And so the right side or the starboard side of the ship looks over the island the entire day or 2 days that you're there, depending on if you do an overnight or not, which I highly suggest doing an overnight there. And it's so cool to just, you know, you go out on the island for the day, you spend day exploring, swimming, snorkeling, just going up in the lighthouse, doing all the fun stuff. And you come back on the ship, you take a shower, you have lunch, you do all that stuff. Then you can just sit out on your balcony and watch everybody out there, Lighthouse Bay and all that. It's so fun to just enjoy that. The night show, the lighthouse show, you can see it from the starboard balcony, or you can go down on the shore and do it from there, you know, on the beach, watching the light show and stuff. It's such a great time. Ocean Cay is one of my favorite ports. We'll get to that when we talk about the ports, but we loved the idea of having that room. Every time I've gone to Ocean Cay, I've tried to get a starboard side balcony because it is just the way to do. So if you're going to Ocean Cay, starboard side balcony. If you hear nothing else, starboard side balcony, then come back here to this video and go, oh my God, it was amazing, because it's totally, totally worth it. So let's talk about the ship. So this is what's called a Seaside Evo class. So there are 4 ships in these 2 classes, the Seaside and the Seaside Evo. The Seaside was an older ship. We actually went on the Seaside in August of 23. And then we were here on the Seashore, which is a Seaside Evo, or an evolution, kind of an upgrade. Some things they changed, class ship. And I will say, out of the 2, the Seaside and the Seashore, there are some comparisons that I like more. I will say both ships pack a ton of stuff in these ships. And sometimes it's too much stuff in the sense that it's very choppy. There's some places where you have to go up a floor, down the, you know, and then go back down to get that. Both the Seaside and the Seaside Evo class Seashore, which we were on, kind of have that feeling. I don't love it. I don't love that layout, but the design of MSC ships are beautiful. They are classic, white, very bright. chrome mirror, very clean mirror. There's just mirrors everywhere, and all of them are absolutely spotless all the time. The Swarovski crystal staircases are just beautiful to look at. Just floor after floor after floor after floor, staircase, 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 staircase of sparkling Swarovski crystals just blinding you in the eyes. Then you have the white party, and there's lights going, and there's music blaring. You have all these people dressed in all white with a chrome and white and sparkly backdrop. It's all beautiful. It's all gorgeous. Their ships are stellar in the design. The layout, I'm not a super big fan of. That's okay. One thing I severely missed, and this will go into our next topic as well. One thing I severely missed being on the seashore that was on the Seaside was the Biscayne Bay buffet, which is basically the complimentary dining buffet 2.0. It is a smaller, more intimate buffet, has all the same stuff on it, but it is much smaller. It's kind of on its own. It's by itself. That's where the late night buffet was, which was awesome all the time. And that's going to bring us to the food. That is something I love. I love cruising for the food, full stop. I love food. I love cruising. It's so great. On this specific cruise, I was a little disappointed in the complimentary dining, not in the quality of the food, not in the quantity of the food or what was available, just in the way it was set up. There are only 2 complimentary dining options on the seashore. That is the main dining room, which is open for breakfast most days. They have a brunch, a sea day brunch on the sea days. They had a very fancy brunch lunch that was on the day we missed Ocean Cay that I don't know is always available. So that might have just been a fluke specialty thing because we missed Ocean Cay and they needed places to feed people. And then they have dinner. So that's all well and good. I love sitting down at the main dining room. And then they have the buffet. And the buffet is not the best layout of the buffet. To MSC's credit, their buffets repeat. So this is a big deal. If you're at the buffet and you go, God, there are so many people here. If you walk down the ship a little ways, the same buffet in front of you, option A, B, C, and D are copy pasted right over there. And the farther you go to the back of the ship, the less people there are. Okay, that's something I noticed on my sailing. When I got to the back of the ship at the buffet, nobody, not a single person was back there. I actually filmed, this was on a sea day, during lunch, I actually filmed with this camera, my VR camera. I actually got a couple of shots of the buffet where there was not a single soul in the shot on a sea day at lunch in the buffet because nobody goes to the back of the buffet. FYI, if you're into ship tours, I did a ship tour with that camera. It's going to be coming out on the channel soon. And it's actually done in 3D 180 degree VR. So I will also include a link to my other channel, which is called From My Eyes VR, which is a VR immersive channel. So if you have a headset, you can experience what the ship tour is like in virtual reality in 3D, which is really, really cool. So if you're into that, I would check that out. I also leave links to all my other channels down in the description below. Well, anyways, back to the food. Food is good. I like their food. Some people have a little bit of a complaint because it is an Italian or a European-based ship. Sometimes they have some funnier options on the menu. I personally have no problems with the food, but I'm not a very picky eater. I literally eat everything, okay? Literally everything. And I want to try everything. I mean, what is this? I've never had it before. I will try it, and I usually do. Now, I also did choose to do all the specialty dining restaurants on this ship to bring kind of content and information to you guys so that you could check it out for yourself. And all of the specialty dining restaurants were really good, minus Ocean Cay, their seafood spot. That one was a little bit of a miss to me, and we'll get into that in a second. But I will be doing full in-depth videos on all of the specialty dinings. Here I'm just going to kind of do a brief overview because I don't want to take up too much time. But if you're interested in seeing a specific video about any of the specialty dining restaurants, I will link down below to a playlist that's going to have all the videos from this series, including my room tour, my daily vlogs, and what we got up to all week long, and then of course all of the specialty dining. But basically it goes as follows. They have the butcher cut, which is your steak. They have Ocean Cay, which is your seafood. They have hibachi, which is hibachi. They have the sushi bar, which also has an all-you-can-eat option during special times. So that's only once or twice during the cruise will they do the all-you-can-eat sushi, which I did, as you can tell. They also have HOLA tacos, which is another all-you-can-eat if you want, and it's super good for burritos, tacos, etc. Then they have the gelato spot, which is like your upgraded ice cream type, and then you have specialty chocolates and coffee. They have a whole chocolate bar area, which is super cool. They like make these really fancy chocolates. So they have your upgraded, all your chocolates. That's also your coffee area. So if you want to do any specialty coffees, they do that. Their coffee there is very good, and it's not just like, oh, let me have a vanilla latte. They have like, do you want hazelnut chocolate, blah, 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 you know, white chocolate ganache latte with cold foam and, you know, pistachios on top. I mean, really, really, really fancy and good stuff. And we got quite a few of those coffees, but really, really great stuff. Like I said, all the food was really good. The seafood was a little bit of a miss. I think that was kind of my fault for ordering some things that were a bit out there. There were some really fun options on the specialty dining, and there are options to do dining packages where you get a preset menu, so you do not have the full menu available to you. But if you do it ahead of time and you look at the menu, you look at what's on the a la carte, whatever, I just pay as I go, versus the dining option, you can find things on the dining option that you may have, that you were gonna buy anyways in the a la carte, and that's definitely gonna be the way to go, cheaper, if that's what you want. Now, there was a lot of times where I wanted stuff outside of what was available in that limited dining package menu. Like for example, I really wanted to try the bison steak. That wasn't available in the dining package, so I ended up just doing it a la carte. Which worked out for us. Sometimes we wanted a dessert, sometimes we didn't want a dessert, so to pay for it in a package, it would have cost more to have a dessert I didn't actually want. So I would say just do a little bit of research on that. The menus are pretty readily available online, especially once you book. If you go on the app or you're on their website, you can really dive into the menus and things, and you can see that from there. But overall, I would say the food's pretty good. I definitely like MSC. I will say this, hands down, best pizza at sea. The best pizza at sea. MSC has the best pizza at sea. I will climb to the top of Everest to scream it with the lungs that aren't full of any oxygen, because I would have frozen to death and died somewhere at base camp, because I'm not even anywhere athletic enough to get past base camp or even to get base camp. I'd die on the way there. Anyways, I will say this, MSC pizza is the best at sea. It's just bar none, hands down. They're an Italian-based company, so all their pizzas, their breads, their pastas, super good, super fresh, really, really good. And I highly, highly suggest check out a lot of their food options because they're all really, really good. Next, I want to talk quickly about the staff and the entertainment on board. Some of the greatest shows, and I say greatest, some of the most interesting, varietied shows at sea has been with MSC. They really know how to pack in a great show. Now, I will say this, some of their shows really lacked having a live band. They really suffered because they didn't have a live band. They have musicians. There are musicians all over the ship. In the main atrium area, there's always music going. But honestly, I wish every cruise show would go to a full live band. That being said, MSC shows are great. They're super fun. Like I said, very like variety central. You want a juggler, you want a guy swallowing a sword, you want some random T-Rex, you want, you know, aerialist. I mean, you name it, you got it, okay? It is so great. I grew up in musical theater, and I love, love, love the shows on cruise ships, and MSC is really, really, really great. I love the fact that they'll sing to me in another language, give me some culture. I love the fact they have this one called Encore, and it's basically like a Broadway-based tip of the hat. You know, Phantom of the Opera, Les Mis, Wicked, all these references, West Side Story, they're so good. And I love that they do that. It's one of my favorite things about MSC. Their Ocean Cay, their pizza, their shows are like some of my favorite things about MSC as a whole. But outside of the shows and the live music, the parties, the deck parties, out on deck or in the main atrium, like the white party and stuff, those people are high energy. I mean, absolutely ready to go, ready to party. What an absolute blast of a time we had whenever there was any sort of dance party. They were awesome. And absolutely loved it. And then of course, all the staff, the dining staff, anyone we ran into, our room steward and stuff, super nice, super accommodating. We didn't really need anything, so there was never a time where a problem needed to be solved for us. But I know that in the past, if there was ever a time I had any issues, they were well and easy to resolve them. So I love the staff on MSC. I don't have any problems with them, and the entertainment is always great. Now let's talk about the ports of call. So we quickly covered this a little bit earlier. Ocean Cay, one of my favorite private islands in all the private islands I've gone to, across many cruise lines private islands. Ocean Cay, just hands down, is the best. It is quiet, it is relaxing, it is peaceful. Your Wi-Fi package works on the island. Your drink package works on the island. Are you listening, Carnival? Now, I will say, on this sailing, we missed Ocean Cay, which was a huge bummer, because honestly, Ocean Cay is one of the biggest reasons that I book with MSC. So missing that was pretty shattering. That's not for lack of trying. The captain and his crew, they worked hard. We tried to pull in there 3 or 4 times, and I will say it was quite windy. I got a couple of clips when we were trying to back in, and I was getting blown all over the place. The rain was coming in sideways. It was pretty rough. Now, because we did miss Ocean Cay and we were supposed to be there for the afternoon of one day and a whole nother day, we were kind of lost at sea for a moment. But the captain and crew worked with local authorities and was able to move Costa Maya forward one day, and where we would have gone to Costa Maya, put in Roatán, Honduras, which was originally not a stop for us, but we were able to go, and we added that to our itinerary. Now on the flip side of that, when we got to Costa Maya, another one of my favorite ports, the aviary, which is one of my favorite things to do there, was actually under construction. I don't know that they knew anyone was going to come, so they planned construction when there weren't going to be a lot of ships in port. And then of course, all of a sudden, we moved our day of arrival up one, and so we were there when they weren't expecting it. So we did miss that, but Costa Maya does offer so many other things that are free. They have a huge port area, and the pool, they have this huge pool. You get amazing shots of the ship. It's quite a long pier, but the Costa Maya flyers are super fun. That's a great show to watch. The tradition, the history, the culture there, but also just the athleticism of hanging upside down, playing a little drum and flute, spinning around in a circle, but upside down. I mean, I would die, but they do such a great job. It's such a fun little show to watch. They have the dolphin encounter there, which, you know, put aside the dolphins being in captivity and, you know, dancing monkeys type stuff. I don't know what the ethics of it all is, but it is cool to see dolphins in person. They have a whole thing where you can swim with them and do all that stuff. But even if you're not, they have areas where you can just view it. So, I mean, you are, you know, 15 feet from 2 or 3 dolphins bouncing a ball back and forth, which is really fun to do. And again, that's all for free inside the port area, aside from the jabillion shops they have for every, you know, knick-knack, paddywhack, and tchotchke you could possibly want. So I really do love Costa Maya. Then we went to Roatán, which was an added stop for us, Cox and Hole. I said this in the video, Cox and Hole was literally nothing but a hole for a while. And over the last few years, they've really built that area up, and I'm really happy. I'm impressed with what they've come up with. It's really awesome. They have so many options there now that's not just a few things of shopping. We did do an off-ship excursion. So we made a friend on the ship, and she actually had a friend who lived in Honduras who recommended this experience for us. And so we went and hung out with monkeys and sloths, and that was really cool, taking pictures with the sloths and stuff. You're not allowed to hold them anymore, which is fine. Guess it stresses out the sloths, or it's not good for their health, which I don't need to hold the sloth. I'm not a sloth person, but they were really cool to hang out with. And then of course the monkeys climbing all over us was really fun and goofy and such. But we had a great time in Roatán, and you know, hats off and thank you very much to the captain and crew for making up for some of the losses of Ocean Cay with something, a consolation at best. At least we got to go to another port, which if you're adding that to your stop, I think it's totally worth going to Cox and Hole now that they've made all these additions. Then after that, we had our stop in Cozumel. Cozumel is not a place I care to get off at these days. There are 3 different port areas in Cozumel, and each of them has a varying degree of popularity. The one that we stopped at was not. Punta Lagosta is an okay port. It is a mega shopping area, and there are some things to do. We got off, we walked around, we went to Señor Frog's, we had some drinks, we ate some food, and then we got back on the ship. It was more of a stretch the legs type area than a place to go see. There are some pretty cool excursions you can do in Cozumel. I've done quite a few of them, and we just weren't feeling it at that time. Again, I think we were more so on the specialty dining, paying for the specialty dining and really getting that experience over some of the excursions that we would have normally done. And finally, we're going to talk about disembarkation. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but we're from Rocky Top, Tennessee, and so we were ready to roll. We lined up real early. They gave us luggage tags, and the luggage tags they gave us, if we had checked our luggage, the time of departure, it was not slated until 10:30, which is way too late if I'm driving all the way to Middle Tennessee from Port Canaveral. So we decided to take our bags off with us. We got in line about 6:30 that morning, and within an hour, we were on our way to the truck. We were right next to the exit in the port terminal, and so we hit the road pretty quick, and we made it back here early evening that day. So, you know, embarkation and debarkation at Port Canaveral have always been pretty smooth, whether that's through Carnival or MSC, which I have done plenty of both from Terminal 6, Terminal 5, Terminal 10, all at Port Canaveral. They've all been great. As far as cruise lines go, MSC probably fits somewhere in our top 3, and we really do love MSC. Like I said, their shows, their food, and of course, Ocean Cay is phenomenal. The ship is always clean. It's always being cleaned. I've never had a bad experience on an MSC ship, and I hope to never have one. But that's about it for my review of the MSC Seashore. If there's anything I missed, please leave a comment down below. And if you appreciate this in-depth video and all this footage I've brought to you, I would love for you to consider subscribing to the channel. It's free for you and helps me out a ton. So without further ado, my name's Rob from Here Today, Where Tomorrow, and we will see you there. If you like this video and want to see more, please head on over to the channel and subscribe. And if you want to get notified, ring that little bell. We upload new videos every week.